The death toll continues to climb as storms have unleashed catastrophic rainfalls. Tyrone Bowman live. According to USA Today, widespread flooding was ongoing Thursday across the central United States as an atmospheric river hung over a vast swath of the country, leaving tens of thousands without power as the death toll climbed, and forecasters warned of worsening conditions. Dozens of tornadoes were reported from Arkansas to Illinois on Wednesday and early Thursday, according to the National Weather Service Storm Prediction Center. Across multiple states, the devastation was immense. The storms and tornadoes flattened homes, tore off roofs, collapsed a warehouse, decimated a church, and overturned trailers. In Kentucky, Misty Vincent huddled in a bathtub with her 4 children and 2 pets as the storm ramped overnight. The roof of her home was ripped off and then rain began to pour onto them. It's like the sky opened up inside, she told the Louisville Courier-Journal, part of the USA Today network. At least 7 deaths have been tied to the storms. Officials in Missouri said 1 person was killed Wednesday in the southeast part of the state. Local and news outlets reported. In Tennessee, officials reported at least 5 deaths across multiple counties, including McNarty, Obion, and Fayette. And in Indiana, authorities say a man died after touching a drowned power line. Over 30 million people from Texas to Ohio and West Virginia were still at risk Thursday of powerful tornadoes and major flooding, which is only expected to worsen over the coming days. This is a catastrophic, potentially historic heavy rainfall and flash flood event, quote, close quote, the National Weather Service said in a forecast, adding that people should prepare for severe disruptions to daily life. Matter of fact, here are some of the photos, if I can, yep. Here's some of the photos I want you to see here. I'm going to slide my slide to see, as you can see, what's happening. Most folk don't care because it's not happening to them, but this is the reality of what's going on across the country while people are arguing senselessly over dumb stuff because of flooding. As you can see, the tree that fell on top of a home, that's major damage, and the insurance companies will not want to pay for the damages. That's another photo there. That's from a different angle. This is real. You have to understand, down in the Mid-South, devastation is happening at an alarming rate. See how the tide is rising? Individuals are trying their best to work and repair the damage that has come. There's some more catastrophic damage as well. Christian American Red Cross and the Salvation Army and other nonprofit organizations that do great work in helping people during this time are out at the forefront. This is more damage that is taking place. Look at these photos. This is real, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, there apparently that appears to be 2 workers talking, probably discussing how they're going to repair what has taken place. There's a car trying to drive through the water, which is ill-advised rather. Look at this. The tide is rising, probably in the local river in that town. All right, let me get back to this article here. Major flooding has inundated parts of several states, including Tennessee, Arkansas, Kentucky, and Illinois. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear said Thursday at least 25 highways were blocked by floodwaters in Nashville. Emergency water rescues were ongoing, according to the city's fire department. More than 260,000 homes and businesses were without power Thursday afternoon, according to PowerOutage.us. The United States with the most outages were Michigan, the states rather with the most outages were Michigan, where a total of 111,680 homes were affected. In Indiana, 61,626 homes were affected. In Ohio, 30,673 homes were affected. In Kentucky, 14,608 homes were affected. And in Texas, 13,272 homes are now without power. Hundreds of lights were delayed or canceled. Hundreds of flights were delayed or canceled Thursday at major airports across the central U.S., including Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport and Chicago O'Hare International Airport, according to FlightAware. In Fairdale, Kentucky, Vincent stood in her front yard Thursday morning, looking at the roof of her family's home lying at her feet. It was the remnants of the fierce storm that barreled through the area hours earlier. Vincent reached seeing a funnel start to form before water poured down. The walls inside and the bathroom ceiling began to cave in. She and her children, ages 6 to 16, were terrified. They prayed for their safety. Now that the storm cleared, Vincent is trying to steady herself with the help of relatives and neighbors. On Thursday, some of them worked to cover the exposed ceiling, and Vincent said others had offered to do laundry or get uniforms for their children. We have to push forward, she said. There's nothing we can do. In the towns of Paducah, Kentucky, which is bordered on one side by the Ohio River and the Illinois state line, Lacey Bowling was making calls and plans on Thursday morning for the 48 women with children housed at the Paducah Cooperative Ministry Transitional Shelter. The organization had put up some sandbags, but Boyling, the executive director, said she worried it wouldn't be enough. Boyling said she received several calls asking whether people who are homeless can go during the storms, but there is no emergency shelter in the area for them, she said. Unfortunately, some of these calls go. There's no place to go, Boyling said. If the transitional shelter housing floods, Boyling said residents might have to evacuate to an empty warehouse on the other side of town that is planned to be used to expand the Paducah Cooperative Ministry's food pantry. But that's not necessarily better suited to withstand flooding, she said. We're experiencing a housing shortage. Just like everywhere else in the nation, Boyling said, there's nowhere for people to go normally, and then you add on historic flooding, historic tornadoes, it just compounds the issues. Workers in neon yellow safety vests installed plywood to multiple windows of the Papa John's headquarters in Jefferson, Kentucky, after the building sustained minor damage in Wednesday's storms. The campus also had property damage throughout, including a twisted fence along its western border and uprooted trees to the south. At least one tractor trailer was overturned, and a piece of metal roof was on the ground near Papa John's Boulevard. More accessories were seen on the roof of the building Wednesday morning, but communication staff for the company could not immediately be reached for comment regarding the extent of the storm's impact. The National Weather Service issued a whopping 728 weather warnings across the central U.S. on Wednesday. AccuWeather said, quote, this was the third highest number of warnings issued in a 24-hour period since 1986, only behind April 27, 2011. That warning was 881 and May 30th between 2024 and 2004, rather, a warning of 834, as said AccuWeather meteorologist Jesse Farrell. Warnings stretched from northern Texas to western Pennsylvania, with the highest concentration of warnings focused around western Tennessee, he said. An 8-year-old boy from Kentucky is in critical condition after being injured in the storms that swept the state Wednesday night. Ladies and gentlemen, the church experienced a direct hit from debris brought by two simultaneous twin storm systems, and all members of the family were taken to Mercy Health in Paducah. The boy was eventually taken to an out-of-state hospital after doctors assessed his condition. The Nashville Fire Department said crews were responding Thursday to several flooding and water rescue calls. And then images released by the department show water crews traversing flooded areas, and Memphis warned to prepare for flooding and power outages. Heavy rain has started to affect rivers around Memphis, the Weather Service said, while some rivers and streams have already shown a response from last night's rainfall. Soils will soon also show a response. The Weather Service in Memphis said Thursday morning they will become supersaturated and leave no option but to reject all the additional rain as runoff. Flash flooding will emerge as a primary concern with this extremely active pattern. In addition, all of this rainfall will make tree limbs very weak and easily breakable. It is best to not only prepare for flooding, but power outages as well, the Weather Service said. That's why it's important for all of us. Stock up on flashlights, batteries, radios, so many different things that we need in case of an emergency. What affects one affects all. Just because it hasn't happened in your neck of the woods doesn't mean that we shouldn't care about others. Irregardless of politics, human life is human life. Memphis, the home of FedEx, handles millions of packages per day. Should major interstates be impacted in this zone, AccuWeather warned there could be significant shipping and logistics delays that ripples across the country in the coming days and result in significant supply chain disruptions. And this article goes on and on and on. I'm going to leave it right there. So, the rainfalls and the rainstorms are very, very real. Tyrone Bowman, never surrender, never quit.